Well, thank you so much, everybody. It's so awesome to see all these beautiful faces. And thank you so much, Lisa, and the folks at Repaired Nations and the folks at Hermana. I'm so honored to be included here and representing X Clubhouse, which is my co-working and event space in Tulum, Mexico, and representing the big team of Black business owners and expats who are living in Tulum and running businesses in Tulum through the Black Collective Tulum. I just wanted to share a little bit about my background. So I'm originally from South Africa. I'm the daughter of freedom fighters. I grew up as a refugee, you know, a daughter of parents who had been kicked out of South Africa for fighting against apartheid. And we were basically nomads. You know, I was born in Zambia, grew up in Kenya, and our house in Kenya was the house where a lot of these freedom fighters would congregate. They would congregate to talk about next steps to getting to freedom in South Africa. They would congregate to dance, congregate to eat, congregate to share their struggles living outside of their home country, and in a lot of cases, not being able to go home. And so for me, I knew I wanted to create a place in Mexico that was basically an oasis for people from the diaspora who find themselves away from family, away from the familiar, and are looking to make connections. If you go to the next slide. And you can shrink the screen. So our mission at the X Clubhouse is to provide a cultural oasis that serves as a home base for work and play for the people in the diaspora living, working, and traveling in Tulum. And our values, we've been very conscious about our values. The first is comfort. And I didn't take that word lightly. It's really about creating a place where people from the diaspora can feel safe. It's a place where people who find themselves stranded, we have had this situation, can come, and I've had a brother sleep on the couch because he found himself without a roof over his head. Comfort, a place where people can be themselves. They can be themselves, they can come with their dreams and their mission and vision and try and connect with people who are trying to do the same. Camaraderie, a lot of people have come to the clubhouse and found friends. They've either attended an event and been shocked to find that there's so many of us and our allies living in this place, and finding camaraderie. It's a place where often I sometimes have to tell people it's time to go. Conscious, this was very important to me. It's part of my DNA. You know, obviously we're not always going to find people who we agree on everything, but basically we want to find like-minded people who, you know, believe in ourselves and believe in the people of this land and are conscious, you know, are awake about the dynamics of the environment that we're in and what we need in order to ensure that we're all thriving. It's cultural. You walk into the space, you walk into any of the events, and you can see that this is a Black-owned place. We look to inspire with the art of people from this land and art of people from the diaspora. And we are a collective. And that is what I'll speak to for the rest of this presentation. We also celebrate together, celebrate each other's wins, whether it's in business, life, health, spiritually. It's a place where a lot of creatives, we too, like the folks at House of Vibes, have a podcast room, are building a recording studio. And so culture we really look to connect with folks of the community who are artists and celebrate their creativity and commerce. Anytime you come into the clubhouse, you might have a class on branding, you might have a class on marketing, and it's a place where you can connect. If you're a food producer, we have a market where you can showcase your wares. So the place is designed to empower the group. But one area that's really, really close to my heart and really important is this idea of collective. And if you go to the next slide, so I had been living and working in New York and had been very much a part of sort of the corporate rat race. And when I decided to change it and move to Tulum, I did notice that I was starting to observe a lot of the behaviors that sometimes cause our own downfall in the Western world. And we were kind of bringing some of those behaviors here. But I imagined that I wasn't the only person observing these things. And I don't know about you, but I don't want to just be represented as the person that, or is from a culture where all they want to do is party. I imagined that there were others here who were here to heal, here to learn, here to contribute, here to start businesses, here to find that collective. And so I called a meeting and to the community and put it out in the WhatsApp groups and asked to see if there was anybody else who was thinking and feeling the same way I was, who wanted to give back to the community, who wanted to be represented in a different way. And to my delight, there were a lot of people that answered that call. And we began the Black Collective Tulum. And we have 30 plus Black business owners in Tulum who are very consciously reimagining how we interact with one another and consciously reprogramming our interactions and our intentions as we make a life here. Represented on this slide are people who are, as you know, Black folks are not a monolith. We come from very different backgrounds. We come with very different experiences, but we do agree that we believe in unity. We believe in supporting one another. And so we have, people who have started a vintage business, fashion store in the middle of Tulum, downtown Tulum. We've got Micah Rochelle, who runs that business. We've got G, who runs a catering business, Infused Foods. She is a cannabis chef and does a lot of events in the community. We've got Selah, who runs an event space and is a dancer, an artist in her own right, with Leah, who is a dancer, and Selah is a singer, actually, and songwriter. And so we support business owners from various communities. Next slide. So what does collective mean to us? We basically ask that, if you're here, stand up and be counted, speak up if you're in the community, because there are a lot of us, some who have been here 10, 12, 13 years, not just, COVID immigrants, but folks who came here earlier and can help you avoid a lot of the problems that you may run into, a lot of the challenges, who have wisdom in terms of how to plug into the community in a respectful way. Collective also means being seen for who you are, how you show up, and being embraced and accepted. It also is about shedding. We're doing a lot of shedding programming from the lifestyle that we had formerly, from the way of thinking. I'll quite often you can tell somebody who has just arrived from the way they interact with the original people in this community, you know, and also coming with this chop chop attitude that doesn't necessarily translate well here. So a collective also means shedding some of those ways. It also means coming with a spirit of yes. And what I mean by that is, you know, we have WhatsApp groups that have 60, 100 people that are from, that look like us and have similar backgrounds to us. And people are suggesting lots of ideas. And when those ideas get suggested, you know, our belief is that we have to figure out how can we help these things happen rather than coming from a place of how they can't happen. So solution-oriented people, when you're in a land where you're just trying to learn how to navigate that land, being part of a collective is really coming with a spirit of yes. How can I help this sister with her idea? How can I help this brother solve this problem? Being a collective means showing up. You know, sometimes it's not always convenient to go to all these events. Everybody's got an event, everybody's got an initiative, but it does mean showing up, because you never know when you're going to need assistance from somebody else. You never know what might happen, and you need support. And so really, it's not having this attitude of what's in it for me, or what am I going to get? It's really about how can I stand up and show up for a fellow member who's in the same situation as I am, trying to navigate this new world. And sometimes it's just somebody seeing your face. You know, you came to my event, that really boosts them. You know, Phoenix talked about the mental health of, you know, people don't realize that it can take a toll, you being alone in a country and navigating on your own. So seeing that familiar face can boost somebody beyond what you may know. Sharing economy. This is something that's near and dear to my heart. When I was in New York, I was part of investment pools. I come from a tribe and a people where we believe in collective investing. And so the idea of a sharing economy is also one of the things that I believe should be part of a collective. One very, very simple example that we've put into place in Tulum is this idea of sharing a car. You know, not everybody needs a car every day, but if you have a car and you can make it available to the collective, that's just a very simple ask that can alleviate so much pressure and stress. You know, as a business owner, I need to do a grocery trip to Playa once a week. August in our community has made her car available. It has been a game changer. Just having that mindset of, you know, some call it a library economy, where you have resources that you can make available to the community. It doesn't have to be for free, but this notion of just making sure that people know you have something, an asset that could be of value that you're willing to lend, rent, allow borrowing, exchange, swap. That mindset is part of what we also believe in terms of collective. And being a shoulder to lean on, shoulder to cry on, shoulder to rant with, shoulder. We can do that when you're part of a collective. And that's part of what we're building in Tulum. Next slide. So I just wanted to, just recognize that, it's important, even as we think about collective, that you remember that we're not a monolith. Black people are not a monolith. We are expansive. We have so many different dreams. We have so many different things that are important to us. It's not about finding a people that you agree with on 100% of everything. No, we have actively made it one of our values to really recognize that we do not have to agree. but we do have to respect one another. And so the visuals on this slide is just an example of the breadth and depth and variety of activities and initiatives that we ask people to show up for, but it doesn't necessarily mean that, each of these things are things that are of interest to every single Black person. So even as we're here and developing community and developing the community, we respect one another's differences as well. Next slide. So at the risk of being repetitive, I did want to talk about, the do's and don'ts. I'll talk about the don'ts. Some of you understand when I say crabs in a bucket. We don't want to bring that mentality into, this stage that we're in. There can be 5 event places. They can be 7 co-working places. There can be 5 recording studios. There can be 5 chefs, there can be 10 of you that own a villa. It doesn't matter. The cake is big enough. In fact, we should be networking. Oh, your spot's not available? Go see Jasmine in Playa. She'll hook you up. Oh, your villa's booked? Let me refer you to this next, sister in the community who also has a villa. This is so important. It's easier said than done. You will be shocked how there's sometimes a desire to not see other people be successful in their thing because it's so closely aligned to what you want to do. There can be 100 healers. There can be 100 people who are doing the same medicine work. Our creator is not small. And so I would say that being small-minded is something that you should definitely try to erase from our programming. Being competitive, being territorial, being only a taker. We are here visitors in this community, even though I was so moved during rehearsal when Marisol said, welcome back to this land. I really appreciated that, even though I am a guest in this land. But I think broadly, we have to remember not to only be takers, thinking about how you can, just make money in this land. How are we contributing? Don't be shady. Don't be shady. That has so many connotations, but there's a lot of times where a lot of us are misrepresenting what we've got, what we're doing, who we are. And it has ramifications in the community. An awful engagement with one of us often, as we know, paints us all with a brush, fair or unfair. It is what it is. And so that is just one of those things in terms of building sustainability, longevity, and community in this community. We have to really be conscious and call out shady behavior. Don't be disrespectful to the original people of this land. I think enough people will say that today. And don't bring your entitlement and privilege. There's lots of good. I was glad the list of what to do is longer. Share, show up, be open with your struggles, share your knowledge, time, resources. Smiles are free. Be solution-oriented, show off your skills and expertise, support others, have integrity, be an ambassador. I see myself as a representative of Black people. Not all Black people, but I will be an ambassador in this land. When people interact with me, like, oh, that interaction with that Black sister gives them a view of Black people. Be a giver. Get in where you fit in. If you're in on the party and twerking, no more respect to you, no problem. Get in where you fit in, but get in, show up, and be active. All right. I'm giving my signal that I'm going long. Just forward to the last slide. If you want to get in touch with me, we are at xclubhousetulum.com. We are on Facebook, Black Collective Tulum, on IG at Black Collective Tulum, and on WhatsApp. I will put the WhatsApp group in the chat box. Thanks again, Lisa, and to the team from Hermana for giving this opportunity. Thank you.